Recently, this article appeared on my timeline. It was from Cointelegraph, and it stated that the amount of fresh Google search interest for Bitcoin has reached the same level as it did when Bitcoin was worth at $16,000. Now, this is something that I find to be extremely intriguing, because when we actually look about where we are right now, cyclically speaking, it seems very, very similar to the time frame of around October and November of the year 2020. And I really believe that we are getting very near to a much greater breakthrough across the board for cryptocurrency. I say this with complete conviction. Evidently, at the moment, there are a lot of headlines that are filled with anxiety, and there are a lot of conversations about the possibility of a crash and other things. And these are the sorts of things that we also heard right around the period that old currencies were selling off versus Bitcoin, and Bitcoin was just kind of chopping. Then all of a sudden, the month of January 2021 arrived, which marked the conclusion of the current month of December, and suddenly everything was different. These days, it is abundantly clear, based on the results of Google searches and the history of trends, that retail is not focused. Despite the fact that we are now hanging near all-time highs, I have stated that retail is not at all interested on cryptocurrency. To put it another way, I have stated that regarding XRP, the same may be said. For example, when we think about XRP, there is a current price of about $2 for XRP, right? And the interest that has been shown in XRP throughout the course of the past 5 years. I mean, yes, we're hanging right around the level. It's like the middle of November, and it's also right around the time that it was the same as it was back in July of 2023. On the other hand, what I find to be rather strange is that I would anticipate a great deal more attention and a great deal more participation in relation to XRP, taking into consideration how high the value of XRP is in comparison to, for example, the end of October. However, retail is just not focused. They do not care, since for the past about 5 months we have been cutting and selling off. This has been going on for quite some time. Now, before I really get into this video, I want to take a moment to halt and let you guys know that if you join the free Discord down here below right now, you will have access to a great deal of free content. I want to let you know this because I want to pause now. Additionally, if you join that free Discord, you will have the opportunity to join the paid version of that Discord, which will get you access to a great deal of exclusive and useful material. It's stuff for me from a whole team of TA and also research persons, including, of course, Tokenizer, for an example. Therefore, if you guys are interested in participating in that, you are more than welcome to do so. However, you are free to choose whether or not to do so. However, now that we have that out of the way, let's move on to certain topics. First things first, let's move on to the news you just made. As I mentioned earlier, there is just not enough interest in XRP at this time. There is no concern in retail, because we are so close to getting the SEC issue totally handled. It is absolutely ridiculous that this is happening. Eleanor New, the governor of the Securities and Exchange Commission, and Ripple have all submitted a single petition to the Manhattan District Court, requesting that the injunction that has been placed on their continuing case be reversed, and that the $125 million civil penalty that has been held in escrow be released. Specifically, they are suggesting that the SEC receive $50 million, and that the remaining monies be refunded to Ripple. The most recent step in the larger endeavor to reach a settlement for the matter is this motion. Put a halt to the appeals that are now underway and prevent any future legal procedures between the two parties. Again, we do not know when this issue will be totally rectified, but it seems as though we are coming very, very close to achieving that goal. In addition to this, the brief contends that extraordinary circumstances, such as a settlement, the SEC's shift in crypto policy, and a desire to prevent additional litigation, justify, alter, and judge towards his ultimate conclusion. We do have access to this information. In May, she made a ruling in which she rejected a request for change that was quite similar to this one. Again, do you think we are going to see any great results from this situation just yet? However, there is a possibility that there will be a somewhat longer wait. Given all of the excellent news that has been coming out from the Securities and Exchange Commission's SEC, for instance, and all of the attention that has been focused on the SEC's cryptocurrency policy due to the fact that they entirely changed it, it does appear that we should be moving closer to a resolution to this issue. To add insult to injury, is this now one of the most significant factors that will determine the success or failure of XRP in the near future? I don't think that at all. It is imperative that you keep in mind that we still have a significant catalyst in front of us. By the way, XRP has been totally cleaned out of circulation. I am currently looking into exchange-traded funds ETFs as the next major trigger. In point of fact, there was a significant update coming from the Solana floor, as the Securities and Exchange Commission SEC has requested that 3 asset managers modify their papers in order to address 2 important aspects of the fund. Bloomberg reports that Solana exchange-traded funds ETFs are getting closer to being approved. Now clearly I don't believe that it's just Solana because this is a Solana-based account, but we do have to consider how the funds will manage cryptocurrency redemptions, as well as whether or not it will enable investors to receive rewards by staking the Solana tokens. SEC examination has brought a new breed of cryptocurrency exchange-traded funds ETFs one step closer to becoming a reality. According to Bloomberg, this is the case. From the beginning, it is clear that they are focusing on Solana. My opinion is that it is a full-on push around all of the exchange-traded funds ETFs. Even when we think of XRP, only on Polymarket there is an 89% likelihood that XRP ETFs are saying Ripple. This is something that we should be aware of. There is no doubt in our minds that it is not Ripple. This is XRP. 89% likelihood that the XRP ETF will be authorized in 2025. Again, this is retail betting on this, so we can't take this as a confirmation that it's already been verified, but we have been hearing from some pretty well-known personalities. As an illustration, Nate Garassi has just lately published a piece that is related to BlackRock. There is a co-founder of the ETF Institute, as well as the president of the ETF Shop and the host of ETF Prime. By the way, I continue to have complete faith that BlackRock will submit applications for the exchange-traded funds ETFs of Spot, Solana and XRP. As a market leader in exchange-traded funds ETFs for Spot, Bitcoin and Ethereum, it would be completely illogical for the company to give up other major crypto asset ETF categories to its rivals. In the same vein, I am confident that BlackRock will submit an application for an index-based cryptocurrency asset exchange-traded fund. Right now, I want you all to consider this. I have reiterated this point several times before. It will be authorized as soon as we see BlackRock register for an exchange-traded fund ETF. Every single one of them will be authorized, which means that everyone who has an XRP ETF filing will be approved. The moment BlackRock goes to file for an XRP ETF filing, it will be pushed through and all of the other ones will follow through as well. How come? What am I trying to express here? Take a look inside the past. In the case of Bitcoin, it occurred. In the case of Ethereum, it occurred. Just so you know, this event took place within Gensler's control. When BlackRock submitted its second application for a Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF, it was finally approved in January of 20... I apologize for the inconvenience, but that was January of 2024. And by the way, what is so weird about that? However, what is truly remarkable about it is that, if we go back to that time period, Gensler published an article in which they stated that they did not wish to approve the Bitcoin exchange-traded fund ETF, but they were forced to do so. Who was there to inform the SEC that they were required to? The name was BlackRock. It is therefore quite likely that BlackRock will be successful in its application for an exchange-traded fund ETF. This is the reason why I am genuinely concentrating on this, and yes, I am taking this as a very, very serious overall perspective on these exchange-traded funds ETFs, since Nate is someone who has been involved in the ETF business for a considerable amount of time. In addition to the fact that he has a great deal of expertise, I believe that this makes a great deal of sense. There is a possibility that I have discussed this matter on the channel, right? Both Bitcoin and Ethereum are included in our exchange-traded fund ETF. Why wouldn't we have exchange-traded funds that invest in XRP? In addition to being one of the largest, it is also one of the most focused on digital assets, as you may imagine. This comes from the retail sector, and over the course of the past year it has outperformed both Bitcoin and Ethereum. In addition to that, we were provided with a significant update by the Bloomberg ETF analyst. So according to Bloomberg ETF analyst, we have a comprehensive analysis of their prospects of approval for cryptocurrency spot ETFs, with baskets, index funds, Litecoin and Solana leading the field with approval probabilities of 90%. That being said, if we take a closer look at this, topping the list of baskets and indexes with a 90% Litecoin, 90% Solana and 90% XRP comes in at 85%. I find it absurd that XRP has a chance of 85%, but I have a chance of 90%, just like Coin and Solana. This makes no sense to me. The market is beginning to truly wake up around these crypto assets, as seen by the fact that Dogecoin is currently trading at 80%, 88 at 75%, DOT at 75%, HBAR at 80%, Avalanche at 75%, and of course SUI at 60%. Moreover, I believe that around the time of the fall we will start to see announcements regarding exchange-traded funds ETFs that are associated with some of these digital assets. That seems to be an excellent time period for when we will receive permission, in my opinion. I am absolutely focused on this, despite the fact that it is possible that it may occur at any moment.